everybody, how y'all doing? Well, I saved one for you. Yeah. I like this setup. I'm already up to the stage, got the bottom ring installed, wristbands, rod, top ring on this motor. The gap is suggested between 30 to 33 thousandths for the top ring gap on this motor, and it's going to vary depending on your application. So I was going to bring you along and show you what it takes, and these are aftermarket rods, and I'm going to get a little loud here for a second, but gotta back the bolts off on the rods. And let's see. CNCs are not like stock rods. You don't have nothing to hit here to get those apart. And you really don't want to beat on these because there is alignment things. And I know everybody's not going to have everything I do, which is understandable. I just haven't figured out a way of getting these apart without hurting them, without using some kind of spreader. So I guess with that, see what you got. Well, I guess I stopped the record, but anyway, this is one of those said tools. There you go. That's simple. I wanted to break these apart before. Let's see if I can do this without killing you guys. Of all days, my hand definitely can find the button to stop the recording. So anyway, as I was saying, I want that broke loose before we go and put them on the rods. And let's see if I can try this again. And I verified with the book. Exhaust, 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 exhaust. So I don't know. There's left and rights, and that's the way those are. And we got number 8 here left to do. And as I said earlier, there's that little pin right there that locks this so that don't rotate around and get to where that could go and start feeding down into the motor. That's what that's for. So did not want to get that messed up, so I put that on the pistons. So now let's see. Okay, so we got that there, and this is number 8. And I've already put one of the spiral locks in, so that helps. And I've got my squirt can with some oil in it, so because you want to make sure you lube this up. And then the wrist pin, or the bushing for the wrist pin. Okay, now bearing tang goes out. Number 8 is like this. So bearing tang like that. Then I always hold it up as it is. Verify the, verify the bearing tangs out. That is. So now we're ready to put the other spiral lock in, which can be a pain. And you're supposed to stretch them out a little, not a lot, otherwise they won't hold. But let's see how this one goes on camera. And just like last night, I did a bunch of these last night trying to speed up the process, so I know there's a tool made for this, but I checked into that. It's a little, for what it does, that's a little spendy. You'd have to be doing these every day to justify having that. Or have a good sponsor, I guess. And make sure it snaps in. Make sure everything's moving freely. And it is. Wrist pin moves freely. And see, that's another thing I have done to my motors is I have the wrist pins and bushings just ever so slightly, because a lot of motors that I got in here lately, when I took them apart, there was metal was starting to transfer to the wrist pin because they weren't loosened up. I don't care if you got a brand new set of pistons or not, that's just something I do. So, and I got that pin off to here, find my gap, put that there, and I put the bottom one on first so I don't get messed up, but up to that pin, roll it on, and you know, I'm so used to grabbing and rotating this, but when I grab that it don't rotate because it can't. So I put the end of this one off over here. And then have yourself a good ring expanding pliers. This is from J.C. Whitney back in the 80s. It still works. One thing I haven't lost. And this particular set of rings was dot up. And the instructions for these pistons, the second ring does not need any, I'd say they're working and I'm having trouble, extra gap. That ring's far enough down. And that ring spins freely. And that's what I'm going to show you here. That top ring is so close to the top of the piston, it calls for an extra gap because that's going to be up in the heat. That top ring is going to take a lot of heat. And you want to make sure you got plenty of clearance on that. This one actually went together pretty good. So, yep, bearing tang's out. Set it over in its proper place for now. And now I've got to set up and file fit the rings, which are installed in the block. I got to get set up to where I got them squared up. And wipe up my messes here. Shop floor around here during the engine build gets dirty. All the paper towels and rubber gloves and all that stuff. Gives me something to pick up later. Yeah, anyway. So now those are all installed, ready to go. This could get put away. It won't be in my way. I'm sitting here looking, and all this stuff set here with the oil, and the oil I used has not leaked out, so those wrist pins are nice and oiled. This motor's been balanced. So I want to get set up and start getting those squared in there and start filing the rings. When I get down to the last one, I'll show you guys, and we're going to be ready to start installing these to stay. I got to pull the rear main cap off one more time, and that's to put a little bit of sealant back there around the seal and on the main cap, so that prevents the oil leak there. So, and I went back to, I was having good luck offsetting these rear main seals. I've now gone back to where they're even with the block, I'm going to try it on these next couple of builds because I don't think they make these rear seals like they used to. And, well, nothing's made like it's used to be, so. Anyway, and unfortunately, since this is a 40 over motor, I don't have the ring compressor, so I'm going to have to go old school and use an old band compressor to install these pistons with. I got a couple of them. Actually, I think I got 3, but I think these are the 2 good ones. The other one I think has got some issues with it. So I'll be using the old school ring compressor to install the pistons and rods in here. And that's where you want to make sure the block has got a good taper and isn't left sharp from boring and decking the block. Otherwise that could lead to some major troubles. But anyway, I'm going to file fit these rings. I'll show you on the last one, and we'll see if we can get this short block together today. And yes, I still got to pull the cam bearing out, or cam bearing. I've still got to pull the camshaft back out. I just cleaned off the journals to get it in to make sure everything was good, and I got to wash the rest of the cam off to get that whatever they put on there to keep it from rusting before you use it. Get that stuff off, and then we got it come with the cam, and I'm really liking this stuff, the driven assembly grease. So we'll lube up the cam and slide it back in, and we're going to verify that these rods that I used are supposed to be clearance to miss the camshaft. So I'm really hoping so, because got a lot of stuff assembled and I don't want to be grinding on anything. So anyway, alright. Okay, I've got the ring gap set here on the driver's side, and I was talking to one of you guys and I was doing a little explaining. This motor here is getting gapped at 31 thousandths to 33, but everything's coming out at 31. 33 would be for a nitrous shot. 31 is kind of be going close, but you notice how high up in the cylinder they are. Well, I use this tool right here. It's a woodworking carpentry tool. It's a trim gauge. I set that at the height where the ring's going to be installed, and then squared it that way with this, since my squaring tool is. But the reason you need to put more gap on a Keith Black piston like this, and the phone rings. Anyway, that phone call was really unnecessary, but anyway, with this Keith Black piston, the ring has moved way up on the piston, which keeps that in the heat. It doesn't, when it's in the here, it doesn't stay down below, because you got your thick dirt deck surface, and most of those rings are a lot lower. So I installed those where they're going to be, gapped them at that spot, and yeah, so because when it's up here next to the head and the thicker metal, that stays warmer right here. You want that gap to be bigger, because as that ring warms up, it only has one way to go, and that's towards itself. And when I talked to him at Keith Black yesterday, he said make sure it's at least a minimum of 30 thousandths. And I went through my old book that I got from him and still did their calculations. Yeah, 31 to 33 thousandths. And right now I'm at 31 with this. So, and I mean, your rings are going to wear a little, so you put some time on this, then you can probably eventually put nitrous or something to it. But anyway, I was going to explain that because I was explaining to the guy I was talking to. So yep, I got 4 more rings to file fit, and then we'll start putting them on the pistons, and that's going to be another nice thing. I'll be able to put the rings on right here without handling them. I'm really starting to like this shelf. Here's my ring filer I've got. That's a manual operated one. It's just mounted to the bench, and what I figured out is I kind of hurts the fingers, but Do that. Then you come over here. And I've got a stone. You got to remove the sharp edges. You got to get those gone. And you don't want to go crazy doing that either. Yeah, not smooth. Wipe it down. And this is the last one, so then I'll be able to start installing pistons. So number 8. Install it. Square it up. Did we do good? It looks like it. We're good. You guys helped me on the last one. So now ring gaps are all done, which means I can start putting the top rings on and get the short block together. So yeah, got the stone and this. I do have this kit, but it's 4 inch to 60 over. So, and then you put the 5 rings in there. But I noticed that groove's getting wore, and what I'm thinking about doing is on the other side here, I want to cut a new groove. And that actually I could even go off to the side just so you could hold that. So I can get some more uses out of that. You realize how old that thing is? I got that clearer back in the, wow, 90s. So yeah, that's been around for a while. Anyway, I got our rings capped and oh yeah, I gotta get that camshaft out. That's what I want to do next. I want to get the camshaft out, which I'm going to go, let's see. And that is, yeah, I finally broke down and bought one of these. So I'm going to use that, get the camshaft up, so I can get that cleaned, lubed up, put in, get the timing chain on. So as we put the pistons in, make sure nothing hits the camshaft as we go. So alright, we'll get that out, get that cleaned up, and we'll start assembling the short block. Well, sometimes it pays to keep spares around. I reached over and grabbed that bearing, and you guys see the problem there? That's brand new. Just opened the package. Destroyed, that one is. And this one here, you see the spots? It's like there's metal embedded in it already. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see how, like, wow. So I had some other race bearings that are the same size, so, and I got out the scale, weighed them, they weigh exactly the same, but I'm like, really? Called the place I got them from, and, well, you gotta call back and talk to so-and-so tomorrow. I may not even call them back. Where has the quality gone? I mean, it's just gone. Anyway, I'm going to get the rest of these pistons in. So far everything's fitting nice. This time I'm not using the white lithium grease. I had somebody else suggest another mix. I'm just using some engine oil and lubing the pistons and that good, because I'm hopefully going to have this running here. So far all the rods have cleared, nothing's hit. So alright, here's where I like to stand. So verify top. I'm going to move it down here so I know. That's number 2. Just like that. No more hold on to the piston, flip-flopping around. Because once these are in, then I can check side clearances and on the rods and the crank, and there we go. And just like that, they're on. So I want to start installing these and see how we come out. There we go. We got the pistons in. Haven't checked the side clearance, and then I got remembering there's something else I got to do to this block, but I'm not going to be able to do it until after I get it sealed up. Is back here. It doesn't, see, it's got the hole for the diagonal. It doesn't have the third hole for the mini starters. So yeah, after we get this sealed up and why I got it upside down, I gotta figure out how to drill and tap and add that third hole. Yeah, this is just gonna be interesting. I've changed how I put this together. Like I said, I didn't use the white lithium grease. I just used some good oil, oiled them up. Try it. I got this on the bearings, the Cleveland bearing guard. I put that on the bearings, and yeah, that's where we're at. Cams in. I might have to get lifters. I gotta get head bolts. I gotta get a harmonic balancer. The timing mark. Yeah, there's a few more things I gotta get for this motor that I thought I had everything for, but it happens. And that shelf there works great. As you guys seen, I love. My only regret on that shelf is I didn't find no sooner or make my own years ago. But yeah, I guess this is where we're at. And like I said, I got it gapped at 31 or so for the rings. And I'm kind of anxious to hear this thing fire up. So, and yes, I put what I call those are stand pipes or vent pipes, and that one there's got it. The less oil you can keep off that rotating assembly, the more RPM you can get faster. So timing chain's nice and tight, so the line bore on this was good. It hadn't been machined or anything. I mean, there's no wiggle. It's nice and tight. So anyway, I guess yeah, hopefully that's casted back there for that third hole. Otherwise, I don't know, we're going to find a good starter to turn this thing over. I guess a little, as I put the piston rings in, I look to make sure that everything's past those pins in there, so I guess we'll fire it up and find out, huh? So anyway, I'm going to get this well, if you've seen it to this point, I already edited it up and it's uploaded, obviously, so I guess I'm going to get tools picked up, put away, and bag this for now. Oops, God, my arm's getting tired. And that's another thing I've been fighting too. And diabetes. I'm getting my numbers down closer to being normal. Yesterday I felt like total crap. Had a headache all day. I think it was because I hadn't drank any pop in 3 days. Yeah, sucks. But I got home. My blood sugar was like 245 last night. Took my insulin. Neighbor had brought over some leftover chili. I ate the chili. Oh my God, that was good. And before I went to bed, I took and ate a bowl of cereal. I started the day out at 110 after everything I ate last night. And yesterday I had 2 pops, all the wrong food, and I started the day out with good numbers. So I kind of ate like yesterday. The only thing I changed up, Mama Bear made me a specialty pizza, mini pizza. Ate that, and you know, after dinner here I was talking to one of you guys, and I'm like, I checked my numbers after I got done file fitting the rings, and I was up to 325. Really? Now yesterday I didn't do that? Basically ate the same stuff. Haven't drank the pop like yesterday. And I went up. Alright. So I took my insulin shot. And here just a little bit ago I checked it. 3.5, 4 hours has gone by since I took my insulin shot. And I was here and I was like, yeah, just not feeling the best. So I fired up the grill outside and grilled some brats that I brought out and ate that. Well, while I was grilling, I finally checked my numbers. I was down to 127 and dropping. I just don't get it. I guess my cousin that bought some of my woodworking stuff is having the same problem. It's called uncontrolled diabetes. Well, and it must run in the family, because he's got it. And a couple weeks ago here, I guess he drank a whole bottle of coffee creamer to keep himself alive, because they were out camping and he dropped to 23, and the only thing they had was coffee creamer, and he hates it, but he drank it. And then the EMTs got there and got him taken care of. But yeah, it just, and he said the same thing. Once you think you got it figured out, next day your body goes, ha ha, yeah, it ain't working no more. So yeah, I'm just, makes for a hell of a roller coaster, and it makes it hard to concentrate on things sometimes. That's just like yesterday, it kind of flustered me assembling all this stuff because I had to do everything in a certain step. But we made it through. It's here. And like I said, that staying right there kind of helped, because it gave me a visual. I'm finding out the older I get, I need a visual. It sucks getting old. So anyway, everybody, stay tuned. I guess I gotta see if I can get some parts ordered to finish this up, and let's see if we can get this swapped out. And I gotta get under here, as I want to drop the oil pan in the rear main. Take a look at that. I might put another rear main seal in, and it's not all the time. I need to run it again. It's kind of one of those that comes and goes, so I don't know if it's the pan or what, but yeah. Anyway, see y'all later. Have a good one.